I think they're coming.
Who's coming?
American Horror Story steps into the deep woods for episode 6, so let's take a look and find out just what happened. What's going on, you lovely people? Lisa here, and it's time yet again to talk about American Horror Stories. Episode 6 is titled Feral and features some familiar faces from the Ryan Murphy universe. We have Cody Fern, who stars in this episode, as does Aaron Tveit, which is interesting since Aaron already appeared this season in episode 2, but they're kind of playing with the fact that these are supposed to be like individual stories, but people have a feeling that they're going to connect later, so I don't know. He played a different character who got killed in the murder house and trapped there in episode 2, so if these episodes do end up connecting, could this be a character who's maybe a twin to Adam the Contractor, or is it just kind of like we all have doppelgangers somewhere? Anyway, this season's still not sure if I'm totally sold on it. It seems like a lot of you out there aren't either. This episode I do feel was maybe better than some of the previous episodes, but I think it just had some interesting build-up, but that ending was kind of like, eh. And I don't think they used Cody Fern well enough. But that's enough of my 2 cents. Let's just go ahead and dive into the events of this episode. Okay, so the episode is titled Feral, and we meet a couple named Jay and Addie. He's a lawyer, she's a teacher, and they're heading into the woods for the weekend to get away from the stress of work and experience nature with their 3-year-old son named Jacob. They reach Kern Canyon National Park, and when they pass the campground where most of the families are, Addie's kind of like, where are we going? And Jay says they're going right back up against the woods, the forest, which does not seem to make Addie very comfortable. She seems a little scared. They then end up pulling right up next to the water and setting up camp, where it seems like no one else is around. That night, when Addie goes to put Jacob to bed in the tent, Jay sits by the fire drinking wine, and there's this figure lurking behind him in the woods. Now, up until this point, we've just been hearing some creepy sounds. Now, we're starting to see things. Then, as they settle in for the night in their tent, Addie says they should come back again in 10 years, and she hears a weird noise. Then the next morning comes. Jay and Jacob get ready to go fishing, and Jay gives Jacob his old Boy Scout compass. As they head to the water, Addie steps out of the bathroom and finds a trail of blood that ends up leading to a deer that's been cut open and hanging from a tree. As Jay and Jacob walk to the water, Jacob keeps hiding behind trees, popping out, saying boo, basically playing hide and seek.
Buddy, I don't know where he is. Buddy! Oh. Jacob! Jacob!
Addie then goes to find them, and well, by this point, Jacob has now suddenly vanished. Unfortunately, Addie does get to revisit the park 10 years later, but not in the way she wanted. You see, we go forward 10 years, and we see that, well, Jacob never was found. Jay and Addie are divorced, and Jay is still having this rough time, and he's focused on trying to find his son. Seems like there's some theories out there that even he murdered his own son, causing backlash from other tenants in his apartment building. Now, he gets a knock on his door, and standing there is a man named Bob Birch, who claims he's a hunter who leads tours in those woods of the national park, and he has information about Jacob, an eyewitness account. Now, Jay is not buying this because he's met with like 200 people claiming to know stuff about Jacob, the majority of them, or pretty much all of them, being scams. Bob seems different though, and he pulls out an old Boy Scout compass and a photo he says was taken in the spot where some illegal pot farmers are deep in the woods. The figure looks like that of maybe a 13-year-old boy. The compass, though, is what really makes Jay interested, so he looks at the photo, he buys into what, it seems like Bob is selling, and he goes to see Addie, who's now a real estate agent because she's not allowed to teach kids anymore either, probably receiving the same backlash as Jay. Now, Jay says that Bob Birch, this guy, wants $10,000 plus expenses, and he's going to lead them to these growers for information about their son. Now, Addie, of course, as a wise woman, thinks this is a scam, but when Jay brings out the compass, she reluctantly agrees. They head to the park with Bob and start hiking immediately because Bob says that they need to be at the growers' camp before sunset. That should be a warning sign already. Jay and Addie stop, though, to have a quarrel, and then Bob tells them they need to keep moving, and then they happen to walk straight past this. I guess they were so caught up in fighting, they're not really looking around at all the different trees or paying attention, but whatever these people things are that are attacking, they really blend in very well. The trio keep moving and then come upon the ranger station, where Bob says they need to check in. He warns them, though, that the park ranger that works there may be a little crazy.
Guy runs this here is a couple rounds shy of a clip.
Not so much a park ranger, some kind of weird up Boy Scout. If possible, avoid conversation.
We then meet Stan Vogel, the park ranger, as well as another weird creature sighting.
Goddamn, we're in luck.
Stan, of course, recognizes who Jay and Addie are from the news. He knows that Bob isn't leading them on tour and kind of wants answers. Stan ends up telling the trio that it's not growers they need to worry about in these woods. It's something a million times worse. He then explains he was at the station the night that Jacob went missing. He saw some tracks, kind of like Bigfoot, and then got pelted in the head with something that knocked him to the ground. As he was down there, he saw a figure run by carrying, a dead doll, basically, in a blue hoodie. Which, of course, is supposed to mean he was carrying Jacob, a child, wearing the blue hoodie. Now, no one is buying Stan's story, but he warns them they should go back to where they came from. Well, of course, Bob, Jay, and Addie don't listen, otherwise we wouldn't need to continue this episode. They head deeper into the woods as Stan stays behind at the station, looking out over the woods with his binoculars. Then he runs to get his shotgun for some reason. Now, Jay, Bob, and Addie may change their attitudes towards Stan's story because they end up walking upon a massacre. It seems like all those growers they were going to meet have been killed and gutted. Now, this is when Bob starts to panic, saying it must have been a rival cartel out there, and then it's revealed that, ta-da, yep, he was scamming Jay and Addie this whole time.
That photo I showed you, that was my nephew. I shot that in the backyard. And then the compass, I bought that at the Salvation Army store and dirtied it up and needed that fucking money.
Well, karma ends up biting Bob in the ass, or rather the neck.
And now you're gonna see him.
Seems like Bob at least made a tasty meal. Unfortunately, though, when Bob was being attacked, the gun that he was holding, he shot it off, and a bullet did end up hitting Jay. So he and Addie make their way back to the ranger station where Stan helps patch up the wound until they can get to the hospital. Stan then says he doesn't think that they're coming. By saying they, Jay and Addie are kind of like, what the hell are they? What did we just see? Jay has had enough of all this, I can't talk about it, whatever stuff. So Jay points his gun at Stan and demands answers, and then tells Addie to go take Stan's shotgun, which Stan lets her do, and it's kind of like, really? Stan's the one pointing a shotgun at these people. He should have just blasted Jay with the shotgun, and this might have been all over with. Stan finally agrees to talk and pulls out a confidential folder from a filing cabinet. He basically explains that national parks were actually created to keep Americans from things that would eat them. He calls these so-called creatures feral nation. So it's a subpopulation of humans that live deep in the woods like animals. Now they don't have any clue how long they've been there, but some think back to the Vikings and such, and over time, with genetic mutations or inbreeding and stuff, they've just become, feral looking. There are these pockets of ferals in every national park, and thousands of people have vanished, supposedly, because of them. Now, Jay and Addie still kind of not believing this, but Stan asks if they noticed anything weird the night Jacob went missing and the search party. Jay does recall a group of soldiers showing up and going into the woods, but never coming back. Stan says those military units were actually called in whenever incidents were reported for population control. In other words, they would go out and sweep the area and kill as many ferals as they could find, but a lot of soldiers never made it back alive. So now it seems like Jay and Addie think maybe a feral ate their son, so they do give Stan his gun back, and it seems like they believe his story. Stan then goes to use the radio to call in for a sweep so that they can then head to the hospital. Now, as Stan is going to use the radio, we have Jay and Addie kind of having a moment apologizing for everything. Now, Stan finally gets someone on the radio, but then he gets a surprise. Yeah, just a feral hanging up on the ceiling, very reminiscent of how Rubberman loves the ceiling and stuff. Anyway, a bunch of ferals then attack the trio, breaking into the station, and they end up feasting on Stan. R.I.P. poor Stan. At this point, he's probably thinking he should have just shot Jay and fed him to the ferals and ran. Now, as the ferals are feasting on Stan, Jay and Addie sneak out of the window and run into the woods, but Jay's getting weak from his bullet wound, and they end up stopping and then being surrounded by a bunch of ferals of all shapes and sizes. I feel like some do kind of look like they're Vikings or cavemen or something. Anyway, Jay and Addie turn around and then end up seeing a kid looking like he's straight out of something from The Hills Have Eyes, although I guess all these creatures kind of look like that, which would make sense if there's some kind of inbred feral creature, so I guess they did good. The thing is, this kid that's sitting on the throne isn't actually an inbred or a feral. I guess he became one in a way. It's Jacob, their son. We know this because he's wearing Jay's compass around his neck. Then he really lets them know it's him.
Huh?
So yeah, I guess he finished his final hide and seek got the boo in there. Not the boo they were hoping for, though, because then one of the pharaohs asked Jacob who these people are. Because this whole episode, no one's actually attacked them. There were plenty of opportunities for the pharaohs to eat them. Instead, they ate other people. Maybe Jacob was kind of saving them. He wanted to see them. But you know what Jacob's answer is to who are these people? This.
For us.
And, well, Jay and Addie get demolished by the pharaohs as Jacob just sits on his throne and watches. No kind of real emotion, but then a drop of blood splashes on his face and he puts some on his fingers and licks them. Yeah, this kid was super weird from the start, and I guess he was just meant to be the leader of a bunch of cannibal inbreds. The way that he was kind of looking at his family, I guess he always wanted to eat them? The whole licking the blood thing off his finger kind of call back to the beginning of the episode when he was a little kid, dipped his finger in his drink and licked it, and Addie told him not to. But yeah, this kid was giving creepy vibes the entire time, looking at his parents like they're a snack, and I guess now we know why. Alright, well, that's the end of episode 6, titled Feral. Yeah, the ending, kind of like, huh? That's it? We're just gonna stop there? They find their son, he's just like the king somehow of the pharaohs, and they're dead. That's it? Like, we don't even get any follow-up to anything, or I don't know. Just felt like there were so many answers that we kind of needed. Maybe that could spark a whole other season of some sort, but I mean, I want some backstory on Jacob. Why did the pharaohs not even kill him? Maybe they sensed that he was different? Where are all those other missing people? Did they not make the cut? You know, how did he become this king on a throne? Obviously, he can't talk because he grew up around pharaohs who don't really talk, but I mean, I don't know. Why this kid? He must be the chosen one, the pharaoh messiah. I don't really know. He was wearing kind of like a crown of thorns. Other questions, though, are why did they never really attack Stan at his ranger station? I guess they mentioned something about the pharaohs not really going that far out, but I see like it feels like these pharaohs don't care. Like, Stan and his shotgun alone could not stop these things. I feel like the whole containment thing is just BS. If these pharaohs really wanted to, they made it to where Jay and Addie and Jacob were camping out. They were watching all around. They could easily, there's so many of them, just overtake a whole park and then a city. Also, in this American Horror Stories universe, we have the zombies or creatures or whatever that were created from the drive-in episode. Then you have these feral cannibals. They're all cannibals. It's kind of like, okay, goodbye California. We're all going to get eaten. I don't know. I do think that where this show is lacking is that they do some good build-up, but the payoff just ends up being lackluster. The final episode, episode 7, is supposed to go back to Murder House, so I guess we're gonna have to wait and see how all that goes. I know a lot of you have some unanswered questions about those episodes, like, you know, the brother of the one girl told, you know, she told him where the bodies were, so if he reported that, did the police come, find all these bodies, take them out? Why wouldn't they knock this house down? I guess as soon as they would try to go get the bodies, maybe the ghosts would just kill those people, be like, you're not taking my bodies out of here, kind of a thing. But who knows? Maybe we'll get some answers to plot holes in this final episode of this season. But that's all I got for you for this video. Hit me up in the comments and let me know your thoughts on the episode. What did you think of that ending? Do you wish that Cody had kind of been in a different episode? Did you like him in this episode? What about Aaron playing 2 characters in this season, in this world? Will they connect? Yeah. Since the show hasn't been winning over AAH fans, will you still watch the new season of the main show on August 25th? Is this going to sway your opinion at all? I don't know. Let me know all your thoughts, theories, and more down below. After that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click right over here because I have more recaps, random interviews, and all kinds of things coming your way. As always, thanks for listening to me ramble about random stuff. My name's Lisa. I'll see you next time.